Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and this is a tutorial for Project Spark. Now today I'm going to show you part one of an inventory system that I have built for you. Today I'm going to show you the system, what it looks like, and also how to do the first part, the first page, which is the weapons. So let's show you what my inventory system is all about. So if I press the right trigger, we're going into my inventory system, which is this dungeon area, and you can see the first page is highlighted, which is our weapon system, and then the second page, which is our health, and third page, which is our quests. But we haven't picked anything up yet, so there's nothing really to see in the inventory system. So let's pick up some weapons, and we'll pick up some health. I'm just going to reduce my health by going into this dangerous grass area. That's just so that you can see that when I use it. And I'm going to collect some quests. Obviously this isn't how you would do it in your game, but I will talk about that in another video. There we go. And now we'll press right trigger and we can see. Right, now we have a number of available weapons. And it says I've got an iron sword, and there's a little image of a D-pad there. It tells me I can move through my weapons like this using the D-pad. So I've got iron sword, an epic sword, and an archer's bow. It says we're currently equipped with the archer's bow, so let's go back to the iron sword. I want to equip that instead. I press A. It now says currently equipped iron sword, and if I go back into the world, there you go. I've got the iron sword in my hand. Let's go back in here. We've got 2 health potions. So if I press A with that selected, it will increase my health. If I go up on the D-pad, I get into potions. Press A. There we go. And that's increased that particular meter, which could be for magic spells or whatever. And then we'll go into quests. I have 2 quests. I've got the Kingdom Awaits, Open the Gates Beyond the Forest, and a picture of the bounce pad, and the Magic Fruit. There's an apple, and collect the enchanted apple from the witch. So there we go. So those are the 3 inventory systems that I've got working. So let's have a look at that system and also our weapons. Let's start off with our weapons. We're going to do weapons today. I'm going to show you the main part of it plus the weapon system. So let's have a look at these weapons first of all. You'll notice each of them have got a name above their name above. Let me just pick up another weapon. I think we can choose weapon. Yeah. So let's pick up another weapon. Let's pick up, that's not particularly, let's do Blacksmith's hammer. There we are, the Blacksmith's hammer. We're going to add this to our inventory system. So what we do is we put that in, like so. We have a look at its brain. It has all of this in. It says it, equip me, interactive, blah, blah, blah. Well, we don't want it to do that. So we'll go into this one here. We'll copy this brain. There we go. So this is what we want to put in all of our weapons. So it says it, which is the player, will unequip to inventory. So anything he's got already equipped is going to go to his inventory. It will then equip whatever he's picked up, and then he will have a weapons object set, and we're going to add our newly found weapon to that object set. Now you'll notice all of these have got names above them. This one doesn't. This one is one I've just put in. So if you press edit and rename objects, it says Blacksmith's hammer. So if now it's not coming up or above, so we'll carry on calling it Blacksmith's hammer, I think. There we go. Just by going in, just press delete space and whatever, space and then delete, it should pop the name in. It's very important that you do that. If the name does not appear in create mode above it, then it's not really registered that name properly. So you've got to make sure that the name is viewed, and because that's very important when we use it later on. So let's go into test mode and see if that new hammer is working. So pick up the hammer, pick up all of these weapons. There we go, pick them all up, go into there. Now we've got number of available weapons: 4. Own weapon, iron sword, epic sword, archer's bow, blacksmith's hammer. And we'll equip the blacksmith's hammer, and there we go. So that's a very easy way of adding that to our inventory system. Now let's have a look at the inventory system. Right, so up here I've got my display room, and you can design this however you like, and you don't have to put it up here. You could put it under the ground, you can put it in a mountain or something. It's entirely up to you where you put it. I've put it up here to stop my player from being able to see it. I've attached every object to the logic cube, which has got the brain in it, and I'm going to use a line of code just to make these things visible and invisible so the player can't see it. And as you can see, I've used various circles for my buttons, and I've got a special effect here, and that's power linked to a light bulb, so that a light will come on as well when this is activated. And I've also changed the pace on my special effect so that it moves a little bit faster than normal to give the effect that I want. There we go. So there is our 3 buttons. And over here is a camera gizmo, and inside that I have got a fixed camera, and I've used the camera wizard in order to create the proper view so that I get the view that I want. And that camera has its brain off as a default, and it's controlled by this logic cube. Let's go into the logic cube. We're on page 1. Right, so right at the beginning we have the right trigger. When the right trigger is pressed, we're going to toggle a menu boolean, and that will turn our menu on and off. So when our menu is turned on, straight away we're going to set a number variable called menu number, and this is controlling the pages at the top. So the choices at the top between weapons, health and quests. And I'm also going to have play some music. Make sure if you're going to use music at this area, you put the everywhere tile in there. Otherwise you might not be able to hear it, especially if we put it out of the way, nowhere near the player. And I've also changed the skybox to make it a little bit more dark and atmospheric. Again, that's totally optional. And because I've got this up in the air, I've got it for each of attachments, visible equals true because we're in the menu. And then we're going to turn the brain on our camera and the brain off on our player. Now we've got an else statement, and this is what happens when you turn the menu off. So when you press the right trigger again, it's going to change the skybox back to day clear. It's going to make all of our attachments invisible. It's going to turn the woodland peasant's brain on and turn the camera brain off. Right, still within that menu tabbed across, we've got some sound effects. So when you press up on the D-pad and you're in that menu number 1, we're going to play a swooshing sound with that, like a sword swoosh, because we're in that menu selection. I wanted a sound of a weapon making a noise. Again, everywhere and overlapping is probably a good idea here. When you press the left button or the right button on the D-pad, we're going to make a whooshing noise, and that's the noise it makes as it goes through the different menu selections. So this is the code for choosing your menu page, and we're going to use the D-pad right button, and it's going to check to see if that menu number is less than 3, and if it is, it's going to increment it by 1, unless it is at 3, in which case it will go back down to 1. So it will create a loop. So you can press the right button and it will go 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 like that. As well, I've got it going in both directions. I've got it going left as well. So if you do it left, it's the opposite. So if it's greater than 1, it's going to go down by 1, and then we're going to set back to 3. So in this case, it will go 3 2 1 3 2 1 3 2 1. So there is our menu. So when menu equals number 1, then we have selected our weapons system. So first of all, we're going to set a submenu to 1. So it's going to start off on our first weapon, submenu number 1. It's going to display the D-pad symbol, so that's what you need to use. And it's also going to display the number of available weapons. And then it's going to look at the Woodland Peasants weapons count. So we know when we added to our weapons object set, it's now going to look at the count, how many of them there are, and it's going to say number of available weapons are, and it gives you that number. It's also going to turn on the special effect that is behind button number 1. So that special effect will be turned on. If you press A, then the Woodland Peasant is going to unequip anything he's got in his inventory and equip our selected object. I'll show you in a minute how you select an object. Then, for each of the Woodland Peasant's weapons, so it's going to go through each of that object set. If the current index equals a submenu. Now remember, we got a submenu starts at number 1. So if it starts off, so weapon number 1, if it's weapon number 1, then we're going to say an object variable selected equals it. So as you scroll through, as you go through the submenu, going through each of the weapons, it's going to say this weapon is now selected, and as you could choose another one, this weapon is now selected, and the next one, this weapon is now selected as you go through the menu. We're going to display owned weapon plus submenu plus that, so it's going to count that number. So owned weapon 1, owned weapon 2, owned weapon 3, etc. plus its name. That's why you need to put the name of the weapon in. You have to actually name it, otherwise it won't be able to find a name and it won't be able to put anything on the screen. So it's looking for the name of that weapon to place on the screen. And then it's going to display a picture of that weapon on the screen. If the Woodland Peasant has it equipped, then display currently equipped is the name of that weapon. So it's looking to see what weapon it's got currently equipped and puts its name at the bottom. And I've got it extra in red to make it obvious. Right, so when you press the up on the D-pad and you're in menu 1, and the sub-menu is less than the Woodland Peasant's weapons count. So you're doing the same as we did before, but this time we're looking to see how many. We don't know how many weapons is going to be in there, because we don't know how many he's going to have picked up. So we need to get this. We can't just put a number in there. We have to find it out. So whatever is the count of the amount of weapons he's picked up, then we're going to increase that sub-menu number. Otherwise it's 1. So it's the same as we had before when we were going around in that loop. It's exactly the same again. This time we're going through the sub-menu, which is the weapons. Else, we're turning the FX power off. So this is the else for when we've come out of that menu. So when we're no longer in that menu, we're turning the special effect off. So there you go. That was the weapon system. It's relatively simple. It's a lot of code, and you've got to make sure you get these things in the correct amount of tabs. So I'm just going to scroll back up to I'll scroll right the way up to the top, and then just scroll down for you so you can see it. So there we go. Okay, so that's all of our code for just the inventory part, just the weapons inventory part. And you'll notice I've got cool pages here, cool page 2 and cool page 3. Cool page 2 is going to be our health, and cool page 3 is going to be our quest page. So there we go. So that's part 1. I will be doing part 2 and part 3 as well this week. Thanks for watching, and keep sparking.